Good day, friends. This is Tracy Brown, and my team and I of non-diet dietitians provide trauma-informed care so you can feel safer in your own skin. And this is a little bit different. I had a email, someone who reads the blog, forwarded me a request to talk about midlife health a bit, because it is true that it can make people who are in midlife feel very unseen. And in this video, I'm not going to be talking about men's health, just because I'm not an expert on that. I don't have to be, I guess, a man to be an expert on it, but I just happen to not be. So obviously, we're going to be talking about the ladies here and some of the things that might be experiencing, especially if you are doing this recovery process. And not only do you have the transition of going from maybe somebody who has struggled with eating and body image concerns maybe most of your life, and now you're like transitioning into another stage of life that also makes you feel like that you're not seen. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to talk about from the angle that I actually help people with it from, versus like maybe when you see a lot of the nutrition and health blogs and stuff like that out there. All that stuff is important. Some of it's accurate, some of it's to sell supplements, some of it's whatever. And I'm not against nutrition tips and supplements, because we do those things. But I always start first at some kind of level of root, is that most of our symptomology is exacerbated by, I just made a list here. I've got a notebook here, and I've made some notes for myself around what we see as very important pieces of anybody's health picture is nervous system health regulation. We're always going to go there because it's really, really hard to make consistent maybe nutrition changes or sleep hygiene work, or take supplements consistently, or deal with maybe miss or undertreated medical issues. I'm going to list some of those things in a minute here that I see that are struggle for people. When we haven't dealt with these other more relational environmental issues. So when I say about regulation, meaning if you've been in fight or flight, freeze or please most of your life, you're probably more likely are going to be dealing with some of the fallout in our hormonal system from being just chronically stressed. So if you haven't even ever considered looking at the ACE study, I might consider you doing that. So it's called the Adverse Childhood Event Study. And I find that people who have higher ACE scores, who've had chronic stress, who have been people who have high stress, low safety, low play in their lives, not a lot of relational safe support, do tend to struggle more with their bodies being in rest and digest or in healing. So the symptomology of mid-age changes is going to be heightened or feel more intense because the body doesn't feel safe. That's would be a really normal response. So that's the first thing to start off with. It's like, hey, it's really hard to make a whole bunch of these other changes. Take supplements, change your food, eat more food, eat more from hunger and fullness if your body still feels like it's chronically in fight or flight or freeze or please. So we've got to deal with that if we want to see this midlife transition just be a little bit more easeful, be more tolerable. In fact, even enjoy the ride a bit. It's hard to do that. So I really encourage you all, like I said, start to look at getting more support with the chronic stress. And that might mean, trauma-informed nutrition counseling, get into counseling of some kind, where you can start to look at the strategies you might have to be dealing with your activation, your fight, flight, freeze, or please. And the more safe your body feels, the more likely it is to free up nutrition and energy to help your body transition easier. And we're going to digest our food better. It's easier to take in what we need, also from the things that might help us. So like I said, the person that emailed me this request, I'm going to be listing a whole lot of things today. So when it comes to what can we do to, have a little more easeful transition, I say first work on our, the places that we haven't healed. We've got to really work on our relational wounding and grow our window of tolerance for better nervous system health regulation, which makes the rest of this so much easier, okay? So, of course, sleep hygiene. If you're activated, it's really hard to not be up all night, which is going to exacerbate any symptoms of like sleeplessness or hot flashes or things like that, all right? Of course, nutrition and movement is important. We want to keep the bone health we've got and maybe even possibly improve muscle mass. That's obviously important. But if we're still dieting, if we're trying to get off any weight gain that maybe middle age is requiring of us to be healthy and well, we need to think about what can I add, into my intake to provide the nutrition and the nutrients that this changing body needs. So yeah, if we want to improve bone health, heart health, our sleep to be better, our digestion to be better, yeah, taking in more zinc and magnesium and selenium, B vitamins, more omega-3s is great. Your flaxseed meal, all that stuff is great for your hormones. No big deal. But you can't be taking out food that would also be pleasurable. And these things are obviously found in foods that are pleasurable. But if we're going to turn midlife nutrition into another diet, you're actually going to be going in the opposite direction, okay? So there's a level of accepting yourself that needs to happen if you want to also improve your health. So we talked about activation, nutrition, sleep hygiene a little bit. There are some supplements that are really important. And in this video, I'm not going to be covering those. I'll do that in another video, actually, promise. And I'm not going to be giving dosages or amounts. I'm going to let you do your PubMed research or come to see us just because, I know how dicey it is to be giving health and nutrition information online when you're not personally working with someone. I don't want to cause anybody to trip up. So if you need individual nutrition and supplement information, please reach out. Or honestly, you're going to have to do your own research. I don't want to cause anybody to stumble here. Okay. This is something that I have to work with a lot of people on in our team. We do this because often people come to us and they're PCOS or hypothyroidism or immune health or gut health that just been really untreated or undertreated. Maybe they're on some things that might be helpful, but they're not it's not optimal. And all these things need to be worked on as a whole and not just like body parts and pieces and things like that. So oftentimes when some of the other underlying issues are better treated, people just feel better overall anyway, okay? Again, I mentioned earlier, safe and supportive relationships. We need those as human beings. We need to be in safe relationship with each other. That brings a level of again, rest and digest. We digest the food we do take in more effectively. We feel better. So there may not be a lot of nutrition changes you need to make. It's just that what we are eating isn't landing because we're in too much hypervigilance or we're too checked out. Either way, okay? And lastly, under other environmental, maybe stressors that we don't really know about. I mean, there are times that other things that you're living in or around need to be investigated that might be causing your headaches. That might be, you might have, honestly, need to get an eye checkup. There could be all kinds of things that maybe your teeth are changing. There's some other things that can be investigated. So this is a big general video today. And of course, we're including all of this in the recovery process, right? So we are still working towards eating from hunger and fullness most of the time. If you need more specific help with other barriers or interoceptive awareness, that can be done. Sometimes we don't know our signals for whatever reasons, whether it's neurodiversity, things with that, or whatever's going on. This is all figure outable. And you want to take all these things into account. And I know that sometimes generally go into a general practitioner, they're not addressing all these things. So I hope this video helps you kind of look at what is your missing piece. Is it safety, relational safety? Is it I haven't processed much of my attachment wounding? Honestly, there are just some missing pieces in my nutrition, but I don't know how to do that without being obsessive. Whatever it is that you're going through, there's some parts of the puzzle this video helps you kind of have a focus for. And if you need more support, please reach out. So thank you so much. I hope this video was helpful. Hope it answers the person who asked me to be like, please, please, please do a video on this topic. Well, here you go. And I will be a little bit more specific in the next video. So thank you so much, and bye for now.